let me tell you. Anyhow, most of us, when we think about the brain, think about the kids in school who were real smart. Now, I've been hearing Dr. Nasr lecture since 1981. And the last lecture, I probably took more notes than I have ever taken at any lecture because he was off on an entirely different angle. And it's going to be absolutely wonderful to hear all of the ways that the brain affects everything in our body. It isn't just the smart kids in school. It takes care of all of us. For those of you who are new, Dr. Nasr had his PhD in biochemistry before he became an MD, when he came to the United States in 1968. He did research at UCLA, then he went to medical school at the University of Guadalajara. He did his residency at Rush Presbyterian, or internship at Rush Presbyterian in Chicago, and then he did his residencies in cardiology and in internal medicine. You are going to listen and hear one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, Dr. Mohamed.
Thank you. Oh my God. I'm talking about stress. This is more stress. You know, just about 15 minutes ago, I was sitting in my car to try to prepare the lecture with this young lady right here in a group saw me. I said, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to think what I'm going to say tonight. And I told them there is so much information I want to give to the people about hormones in the brain. To try to condense that in 1 hour very clearly is very, very difficult. And I thank God that I have the ability to teach because I was teacher all my life in junior high school and elementary school and college and universities, and I taught to residents even that. And the best part of the teaching is to the public, because if you can bring the information down of neurology or hormones, endocrinology, and you can pick the names now as they're coming, you know, these difficult parts of medicine, and connect them with nutrition, which had never been done before. There is no books I can read that will help me to guide me. So I have to use my own 30 years of experience and 20 years of medicine and 20 years of, more than that, 23 years in practice and teaching, and my experience with my patients themselves, live patients, so that's what I try to talk about. Because in reality, there is nothing in the literature to help me except very highly scientific information in that direction, and another information in that direction, try to connect and they don't connect. You follow me or not? There is the academicians doing something, and there is the nutritionists doing something, and there is no connection between one and the other to try to connect to that. You hear something about Alzheimer's disease, you hear something about hormone, you hear something about that, and then you get so excited about it, and then in the meantime, you have nutrition, and you try it, and you see how come it doesn't fit, it doesn't work. I've been using nutrition for so long, and I don't have the results I expected, you know, because this drug may be better than nutrition. And my job is to try to convey the message that nutrition is number one and drugs are number two. And it's not drugs number one and nutrition number two. This is the message I try to convey to all of you. I was given a lecture yesterday from 5 to 6. I was coming from the airport, visiting my kids, and somebody asked me on the way home to stop and give a lecture. Then I just stopped on the way home to give a lecture to, you know, in a house, a Shackley group. Then I just, you know, why not? You know, I got my transparencies, I got the pins, I got the, you know, the markers. It's not a big deal. My surprise that 50% of the people were there in the room, they didn't know what the word antioxidant means. And the person who was sitting in the front line was ophthalmologist. I didn't know that. She was ophthalmologist. I mean, ophthalmologist, I told her, what are you doing here in the lecture? You're making $500,000 a year. You should stay where you are. She said, you know, my post office lady invited me to come. Imagine that, how God works, the post office lady inviting ophthalmologists to come and waste 1 hour of her time. I told her, you're wasting your time here for what? And she said, I'm learning. I said, are you going to apply to your patient? She said, I'm trying. I'm listening to you tonight. I'm going to try to apply. So I was surprised. She was surprised to hear that vitamin C has something to do with the eye. And that's ophthalmology. So we really need lots of education. And when you educate people in nutrition, first of all, you yourself, to educate somebody else, you're going to be an example yourself. You cannot be smoking and drinking and telling people about nutrition. Are you following me or no? And that will reflect on your life. You will find out your quality itself is better. You're helping yourself, you're helping somebody else. And the business of nutrition, Shaklee is number 1 in the world in it. However, it's a big business in this country right now. And you will see, I got a call from a friend of mine I was telling you about. This call I got from a doctor friend of mine asking me a question, and he's a surgeon, telling me, and he teaches actually in the same university in Chicago I was in, and he's telling me, you've been teaching us in nutrition, practice nutrition 20 years ago, and now I'm going to call you to ask you, because our hospital established a center that if we join, they give us 30% of the profit. If we sell them vitamins, or tell them about vitamins, we get 30%. So doctors is going to become a sales people in vitamins, not taking it, just selling it. Are you following me? We both very religious people, because both of us, we know each other because we pray together, and I told him, I don't think you want to do that. If you don't take it yourself and believe in it yourself, how can you recommend it to somebody else? Number 1. Number 2, it's probably not a Shaklee product or a natural product. And I told him, what's the name of it? He said, it's called the wellness centers. So hospitals having something called the wellness centers around your areas, it's intended to make you well, but actually they're selling you vitamins, and they have a share of the company profit. So I want to warn you about that, warn doctors also about that. I told him, don't join it, because 30% of what? You might get $1,000 in a year or a month or something like that, but in the end, you're eventually going to lose, because you're not going to stand a chance in front of companies like Shaklee, who spend millions and millions of dollars on research. You're not going to stand a chance in front of them. So you better just go ahead and tell your people, go find a Shaklee distributor and stay in your surgery. That's the best way. He said, that's what I'm going to do. And I believe that's what he did. So tonight's lecture is about, I understand that lots of people were here last time. How many of you were here in the last lecture? Okay. So we have about 50% of the people who were here. We talked about the brain. How can we protect the brain and the memory parts last time? Remember that? I hope you remember that. Okay. Okay. That's right. If you don't remember that, then I'm going to remind you a little bit by that, because the reason we use the word brain in these lectures is to shake the people a little bit about their memory and let them pay more attention to nutrition. So the word brain was used, and the memory and hormones, just to get the people to know that the brain is the master gland of the body. The brain is the master organ in the body. Nobody dies unless the brain dies. And if you are alive and with dead brain, you are dead. Are you following me or no? If you are alive with dead brain, you are not alive. So it is most important is to have a good memory until you drop dead in Egypt air or someplace else, and that is the fastest way. I just came from Egypt in a funeral because I had a relative was in the plane, so I just told them this is the best way to die. There is no reason to cry about it. I fly all the time. And if I can die like that, it's better than what I see in nursing homes. Are you following me or not? Every one of us has his time. Okay, you're not going to change it at all. I was in my horse farm one day. I raise horses. I'm a farmer also. She didn't say that. You know, I grow soybean and corn and all of that. I'm very much a good farmer too. You know, so we do organic farming in northern Illinois. So one time I was in the barn and we were setting the places where the hay gonna be and the aisles and all of that. And suddenly we have a piece, something fell through the barn in the ground. Piece looks like blue metal. And made a hole in the roof and made a hole in the ground, only 10 feet from us, me and another farmer. And we didn't know what it is. We thought it's a piece of metal, meteorite or something. It was not. It was blue ice from an aeroplane. That is the sewer. When it gets crystallized, it falls out, because when it fell down, it melted, and then we couldn't smell it. But here it is. How do you like to die from something like that? A bullet is okay. To die like that. And your grandchildren ask, what did you die from? It's so embarrassing. But see, this is a miracle of God, if you believe in God, of course, to us, that we don't know what's protecting us around us right now. If we know, we appreciate it more. Because you can be in the freeway or any place and a piece of metal just shoots across and you're gone. So we have to appreciate every minute we have in this world until we're done. So we talked about the brain, and the brain is made from different organs, like we talked last time. The outside of the brain itself, that is responsible for feeling, for function and memory, and vision and hearing, and good time and bad time and all of these things. Instantly it does that. And the inside the brain itself, that's responsible for hormones function. So far, you following what I'm talking about, correct? So last time I talked about number 1. Today we're going to talk about number 2. But number 2 is connected with the body. The hormones of the brain connected to the hormones of the body. So if the hormones of the brain goes bad, the hormones of the body also goes bad. Are you following me or no? But if the hormones of the body goes bad, there is nothing for the brain can do to correct it. If the thyroid is taken out, there is nothing the brain can do to bring the thyroid back. If the parathyroid is taken out, there is nothing the brain can do to bring it back. If the adrenal is taken out, there is nothing the brain can do to bring it back. If the testicles being taken out from a man, there is nothing the brain can do to bring it back. If the ovaries are taken out, I say taken out, how about disease? If the glands get diseased by a virus, or by aging, or by chemicals, then there is nothing for the brain to bring it back. So the lecture here is about the brain, that's true, but also about the body itself. Now, she asked me, what's the next lecture going to be? I said, I don't know, because I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to separate the brain out for next lecture. I'm going to talk right here in this section right there, and then talk a little bit on the body, and next time I concentrate only on the body and the glands of the body and leave the brain out of it. Are you following me or no? The brain is a 3-pound jelly substance, 3 pounds, that have cells in it. And those cells connect to the body, and these are the cells for feelings, right there, and memory. And now we're going to put the cells for hormones, right here. You follow me so far? Every cell, every brain cell, has a tail. It's not like a skin cell. Skin cell, it sits where it is like this. A brain cell doesn't sit like that. Brain cell have a tail like that, and have a stem and have a tail to it. So when a brain cell dies, it could be the tail is dying, or the axon, the stem is dying, or the head is dying. You follow me or no? So that is what we have to know about the brain, because in the end of the lecture, I'm going to show you how the brain can rebuild itself with nutrition, and how the brain doesn't need drugs to build itself. It only needs good blood supply and good nutrition and less chemicals, and will rebuild itself. The brain is the most resilient organ of the body. It's out of focus. I think somebody just, sorry about that. That's what I was worried about. I forgot to focus until I saw a finger like this. It's focused. Okay, thank you. Is it better now? Okay. The problem here is the number of cells are so huge, but the brain is very resilient, very powerful. It can rebuild itself. And we don't have many organs in the body can do that, like the brain does. For example, if we lose part of the liver can rebuild itself to a certain extent, but not as good as the brain. If we lose part of the skin can grow, but might not be all the way. We will have a scar tissue in place of a skin. But the brain is not like that. The brain can remanufacture a new brain all the time. And to make it more difficult, this 3-pound organ have the number of cells in it. How many cells does the brain have in it? It has 10 billion cells. That is, 10 billion. How will you know? Through autopsy, we take a section and then we look under the microscope and we count how many cells in millimicron, and then we multiply by the surface of the brain. We can count them that way. So it's about 10 billion cells. I said about because some people have 12 billion, some 8 billion, but the average 10 billion cells. I heard a neurology book I was reading yesterday says 80 billion, which is not true. It's incorrect. It's 10 billion. But the 10 billion cells, they're not alone. Every brain cell is surrounded by cells around the head, cells around the tail, and cells around the whole body like this. Each one of them is surrounded by 30 cells. Are you getting the point now? Those cells called GLIA cells, or astrocytes in neurology, their function is to look at the cell and see if the cell is dying and eat it, or rebuild it, or rebuild another one place of it. And so if somebody have a stroke or some problem, it rebuilds that area again. So if you count the number of cells in the brain now, you have to multiply it by 30. So now we have 300 billion cells. You follow me so far? Now, each cell has fingers like this, here. It has also fingers right here to feel around. And those fingers, they protrude like this, and we see them growing longer, and for some reason, they're touching each other around. And the number of fingers touching other cells is 1,000. So we have another 1,000, so we have 300 trillion cells. So the brain has a humongous amount of cells, functions. This is a cell. Like you look at the microscope, you see it. And you see the animal cells, dolphin or whale or a monkey or a dog or a human, they look the same from under the microscope. But the difference in the function, the human function different than animals. You follow me or no? We have a higher function than animals do. This is why when we take a cell from an animal and put it in a human, it does not work. Maybe a baboon heart will work in a human. Maybe a liver monkey will work in a human. Maybe a kidney will work, but not the brain. We have tried every single animal. We put the cells, they die. The brain will reject every single cell except a human brain. You can have another human cell, it will grow in another brain, but not an animal cell. And why? We don't know yet. And that is something. Human brain cell can grow in animal, but animal brain will not grow in human. And that's another thing we know. It's a mystery. We don't know why. So we know the human has 300 trillion cells right here, and then even if 10 billion cells, something goes wrong with it, we have enough capacity in the brain. So is that true or not true that people then, if that's the case, that people should get smarter with age? People should get better with age. So the brain gets better with age, does not get worse with age. Is that true or not true? It is true. We see the best scientists who won the Nobel Prizes are always the older people, never the younger person. Because the brain, the more you challenge it, the more knowledge it keeps. You might not remember it, but it has it. Are you following me or no? The brain is not dumb. It never gets stupid. It just, the memory gets lost. And if you can recall that memory back, the brain has the capacity of solving every problem. So we know that politicians, Reagan was older before he became smart to run the country. When he was young, he was a stupid actor. When he got older, he got a smarter person. Right or wrong? So we have to think about us as a human when we grow older. Don't pay attention to Medicare. Don't pay attention to retirement, the Social Security. This is all man-made laws. That you get older, your brain is dysfunction, this and this, you over the hill, and all of this, it doesn't count. If we bring the brain back like it was, don't ever think about the brain gets older, then the brain stay younger. And that is what we have to convince our patients, that you are better than the younger person. And the older you are, the better you're going to get. Don't believe every doctor said you over the hill and what you're doing here and all this garbage. It's negative feeding that there's no hope for the future. And if you take the hope from people, what do? They get depressed. When they get depressed, they don't say it's not worth it anymore. And we have to, there is no such thing called geriatric medicine. There's no such thing. It's called young people medicine, apply in all the time. It is not like you go to the doctor and say, doctor, do I need hormones? He said, how old are you? And then he has to put you in the category you belong to. Who made that? Are you following me or no? Why not say, okay, if you are 18 years of age, that's the amount of hormone you should have. If you are 40 years of age, you have less, then we should bring it back to 18 again. If you get to 70, we have to bring it back to 18 again. If you are 100, we bring it to 18. We might never succeed, but at least we come close. You understand it now? And I did that about 15 years ago. 15 years ago, 30 years ago, I was the top nutritionist in the world. But I was not a physician. After I became a doctor, a medical doctor, I say, then I start paying attention to the hormones of the body. Then I start analyzing the blood tests for hormones. Do not believe anybody who tell you hormones get analyzed in the saliva. It is very, very inaccurate. Saliva and urine and sweat is a concentrated liquid for functions the body does. You understand that the body concentrated liquid. If we check the saliva for hormone, we're always going to find it high because it's concentrated amount. The blood is the only source because it passes all the cells of the body. The people who check the saliva is because they don't have a license to check the blood. So because to take blood analysis, you must be a medical doctor. So if you don't have a license, then you check the saliva or urine because you're not violating the law, but actually you're not doing good for the people. So hormones are only good in the blood, not in any other organ. And I disagree. I agree with Dr. Lee in his book on hormones very much, everything he said, except he made a big mistake about estrogen in the beginning of the book, and what the doctor doesn't tell you about your hormones. And also he made a big mistake about saliva is accurate. It is not accurate. I have a lot more experience than he does in hormones. So hormones I started 15 years ago, and when I started recommending hormones 15 years ago, being lecturer in nutrition and talking about hormones, people start calling me and said, how can you talk about hormones and they cause cancer? And you're supposed to be in preventive medicine. This was the criticism I was getting. How can you talk about hormones? Because nobody else was talking about hormones. All doctors were not talking about hormones. You got to be careful. You got to do that. And I said, no, we must bring the hormones back to younger level. So we started doing analysis, and we started replacing hormones. And people start, with nutrition and hormones together, we start having good results. That's the female hormones we did. Then, 5 years ago, I started male hormones. Then I find also male, also low. Then we start paying attention to male hormones. Then we start paying attention to teenager hormones, young girls and young boys. We find also low hormones in both of them. Then we start paying attention to that also. The hormones were in the market that time 15 years ago, most of it was synthetic, except one natural hormone made by Abbott Laboratory in North Chicago, Illinois. However, only this year I discovered it was not 100% natural. It was actually natural converted to synthetic. So after 15 years, I was told in literature it's natural. Then I discovered they took the natural hormone and they mixed it with gasoline and then converted it to synthetic so they can patent it and sell it. So I started making my own natural hormone. I have the Women International Pharmacy make my own formula, not their formula. Their formula is incorrect because it does not have enough hormones. So they make my own for my own patients, and they send it to me to my clinic, which is, it's the same price, but it is much better formula than the one they make. My base, I use aloe vera, where they use Vaseline in theirs, which makes it greasy, and aloe vera is much better than that. So they are very fine people, and they are the leaders in natural hormones in the country. These hormones from the pituitary gland here, what do they do? And how can the brain keep functioning and make a hormone? The pituitary gland is the gland that makes you happy or makes you depressed. That's the gland make you awake or put you to sleep. That's the gland that give you energy or give you fatigue. That is what's the fatigue coming from. All the glands of the body respond to the master gland. Pituitary gland secretes different hormones. Secretes dopamine, the dope from drugs. I'm sure you heard about dope, these drugs. Dopamine is the substance the drug addicts or drug dealers used when they introduced drugs in the early, about 30 years ago. They tell people this is dope, means it makes you feel good. But it came from dopamine, which is the natural substance God made. But it's not. Cocaine was similar to dopamine, but it's not dopamine. Marijuana was similar to dopamine, but it's not dopamine. Are you following me or not? Even antidepressants similar to dopamine, it's not dopamine. Dopamine, the natural God-made dopamine, is a special thing. Some of you may be nurses or doctors around here, and if you are, remember, if you are a nurse or doctor here, then you will understand what I'm going to say. You remember we use dopamine IV when we have somebody is going to die. Cardiogenic shock or cancer shock or bee-sting shock, we always use dopamine IV to bring them back to life. So just to put that in the lecture and the tape so you know that we use dopamine to bring people back. It's very, very expensive, but we have done it. What's dopamine? Every 5 o'clock in the morning, you be sleeping, and suddenly your pituitary gland wakes up and secretes dopamine. And the dopamine runs through your system. Your thyroid wakes up, your ovary wakes up, the testicle wakes up, the adrenal wakes up, everything wakes up. And this is the time you start feeling energy more at that time, hopefully. I'm talking about normal person. So you start getting more heat, and you start getting more alert by 6 o'clock, and you start waking up at 7, and if you try to sleep past your time, you will overheat, and you will get a headache, or you cannot take it anymore. Because we are daytime animals. We are diurnal animals, nocturnal animals are different. They wake up at 5 o'clock at night, go to sleep 5 o'clock in the morning like raccoons. So raccoons will get their dopamine at 5 o'clock in the evening, at daytime. Then it wakes them up. By 6 o'clock, they're more alert. By 7 o'clock, they get more alert. By 8 o'clock, they go out. Us, the opposite. By 5 o'clock, we start to get up in the morning. By 7 o'clock, we have to get out, go outside, do farming, or go to work, whatever we have to do. Are you following me or no? If you try to work against that by working graveyard shift, then you are in trouble. You are in trouble. Because you're never going to rest. A graveyard shift, the people work at night, they just their body, it just goes through 5 times the stress from the person. It doesn't matter how much money you get more, it's not even worth it because you never rest. That is the time you're supposed to sleep. I worked a graveyard shift in the hospital many times, and what we're all doing at that night time, we're all going like this, going to sleep as doctors. Because we can't stay awake unless we have code blue, or we have an ambulance coming or something, gunshot wound or something like that to stimulate your adrenaline. Otherwise, we'd be sleeping. So the dopamine is the first thing to go because the cell does not make it. Then we have fatigue, we have tiredness during the daytime. You wake up tired, actually. The second hormones, we have thyroid stimulating hormone that stimulate the thyroid gland to work. And thyroid gland, of course, give you heat. We have another one, stimulate the parathyroid gland. Now we're going to speed through the naming of the glands, so we'll go back to nutrition again. Are you following me or no? I'm going to name the glands, then I go back to nutrition. The parathyroid gland to stimulate calcium, put it in the bone, prevent osteoporosis. Then it has to secrete adrenal stimulating gland to stimulate the adrenal gland. So the adrenal starts secreting adrenaline and make you even feel better during the day. And adrenaline is different from dopamine. Adrenaline, it comes with shock. Either somebody gives you bad news when you are depressed, so you start crying, and after you cry, you feel better. And because your adrenaline rushes to get you out of the crying mode, to go back to normal mode, so you feel better after crying. But crying itself doesn't solve the problem. It is the adrenaline came out from the adrenal gland, but actually solve the main problem is better than having rush of adrenaline. It is not normal to have rush of adrenaline because it's supposed to be saved for emergency only. You follow me or no? Adrenaline is good, but if you have too much stress every day, you're going to exhaust the adrenal gland. Then you have permanent fatigue. So we don't want that. We want the adrenal gland to function normal when you need it to function, not to be stressed all the time. And you don't know how much people under stress. Stress is number 2, but under nutrition cause of problems in our society. Stress causes cancer, stress causes heart attacks, stress causes suicide, stress causes accidents, causes alcohol, causes, you name it, stress is behind it. And stress either internal because you have nutrition deficiency, or external because the environment around you is polluted or too much stressful for you in any form. So these kind of things we're going to save for the next lecture. We can talk more about how to control the body stress. We're still with the brain so far. Other hormones come out, the hormone called FSH, and that is a hormone that goes to the ovary, and tell the ovary, you better make an egg, mature egg. And it goes to the testicle and tell it, you better make mature sperm. That's all it does. Then the organs, the ovary or the testicle, they will make those cells, the egg or the sperm, but they cannot release it. When they do it, they produce estrogen hormone in women or produce testosterone hormone in men. And estrogen hormone comes out, not only is important for the woman function, we're going to talk about that during the lecture, but also it has a lot to do with her survival. And testosterone also would come out with the sperm, have nothing to do with the sperm itself. It's already coming in the blood for survival of the male. So the estrogen coming out and the testosterone coming out has nothing to do with fertility anymore. It's to do with other things. Are you following me or no? So the egg is made, the sperm is made, and the hormone estrogen coming out. What does the hormone estrogen do to the woman? Which we're going to talk about it in details in the next lecture, but give you some idea. These are the hormones that keep her young. Estrogen keep everything young. I want to make it simple so you remember it. Keep everything young. The hair stay young, the skin stay young, the eyes stay young, the bones stay young, the heart stay young. Everything looks feminine, looks great. That the estrogen only cares about the looks. Prevents heart disease, prevents cancer, prevents all of this. Actually prevents all kinds of cancer except the breast and the uterus. And I don't think it is responsible for that. But we will talk about that later on. Because the girls who are 17 years of age have a lot more estrogen than a woman who is 50 years of age, and the girl of 17 doesn't have cancer of the breast. Are you following me or not? So we don't know estrogen yet. We know it's being blamed for everything. But I'm talking about the good thing about it right now. The estrogen makes her attractive. And the testosterone makes the male attracted by building his muscles and all of this. But when we tested the blood, we found something very interesting. The amount of estrogen in the blood and the amount of estrogen in the brain, inside the brain has 20 times the concentration of estrogen than the blood. And the brain has nothing to do with sex. And the amount of testosterone in the brain is 20 times the blood. And the testosterone in the brain has nothing to do with sex. So we know when we analyze people's blood and we find low hormone, the brain is much lower. Are you following me or no? And we know for a fact that women who had their hormones brought down from the blood level from 30 or 40 to a level of 100, which is that you're supposed to have, they function much better. And a male, they're supposed to have a level of testosterone of 800. Most of male we see right now is about 100 to 200. When we bring them to 800, they function better in every way. The brain, both of them, they think better. They have clearer heads. Are you following me or not? So I'm talking about hormones right now in the brain. You follow me or not? But I know you came in to listen to the hormones in the body itself, what the estrogen will do, what progesterone will do, because you want to feel good in the body itself. I already talked about that. Say what the hormone does. But the estrogen, in the meantime, after it comes out and does its job, then the egg will try to come out. So it gets fertilized. And the sperm will try to come out. So it tries to fertilize the egg. It can't come out. The brain has to send another hormone called LH to tell the egg to come out, to tell the sperm to come out. So the brain is behind all the function of sexual why? To preserve the human species, or any species, so it doesn't go, it doesn't disappear. You understand or no? Do not believe any anthropologist who said we came from monkeys, or we had first man looks like this, second man looks like this, and we walk like this. There's nothing like that. From the DNA analysis right now, from Adam time until today, it's the same way. Has not changed at all. Human beings stayed the same way since the creation until today. It might get taller a little bit, healthier, because they have less amoeba and less shigella, less salmonella, less cholera, less typhoid. So it's healthier, but the brain is not smarter. It's the same brain. So the size of the brain itself has not changed. So these are the hormones that come out of the brain. What do they do inside the body? They did all the function I talked to you about. How did the brain get in trouble then? Well, the brain gets in trouble because the first thing happened to the brain, this is the brain right here, it needs a blood to come to it. Correct? Because the brain cell, which looks like this, it has a tail like this. The brain cell, what does it need to function? It needs nutrients, correct? Let us go over all the nutrients you remember. It needs protein. That's true or not? Neurotransmitters, serotonin, all of these are amino acids. So it needs protein. What happens if it doesn't get it? It doesn't function. So the people who are in antidepressants is missing amino acids of the brain. It needs sugar. The brain lives on sugar. 25% of the sugar you consume every day or carbohydrate the brain eats. And that is, we talked about that last lecture. And the brain, if it has little bit of low sugar, it will make your life miserable. If it has hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, it will make you dizzy, it make you sweat, make you hungry, it make you crave sweets, it make you miserable until you get the sugar. So I do not tell somebody, don't eat the chocolate, don't eat sugar if they have hypoglycemia. We have to correct the cause of hypoglycemia. You follow me or no? Because it doesn't matter how much I tell them, they're going to do it. You know, have you ever been yourself hungry that you want to grab something to eat and the first thing you put your hand on is what? The sweet. Why is that? Because in 5 minutes, it's in the brain. In 5 minutes, it's in the brain. You feel good at it. So you cannot blame yourself for it because it's a natural physiological phenomenon. How do you correct it? Oh, that takes effort. We have to have exercise, we have to have weight loss, we have to have, all kind of sugar-producing system, which hormones and things like that. But you cannot tell somebody who's going to have a low blood sugar, don't have sugar. You're just not going to succeed. You cannot tell alcoholics who need to drink alcohol for energy, don't drink alcohol. You're not going to succeed. It doesn't matter how much you try, you're not going to succeed. It has to be physiological cure. It means the body itself has to tell him, I got the energy for you, you don't need the alcohol. I got the energy for you, you don't need so much sugar. And we can do that medically. Are you following me or no? So it is not something you go ahead and blame people for it. You can tell them you take your vitamins, take your protein, you take your minerals, but when it comes to sugar, you're not going to succeed with that. Because that's something the body from inside tells you you need it. And if you don't, you're going to feel dizzy and fall to sleep, and you cannot wake up unless you have something sweet. And the third one, it needs fatty acid oil to make neurotransmitters, because the lecithin, you heard about lecithin, it covers the nerves right here. Why we have myelin sheath what do you think about is for? Protection, insulation. You got, how many cells we talked about? 300 trillion cells in 3 pounds, so they must be insulated from each other, otherwise we have seizures. If they touch each other, you will have shaking, and that's what seizure is. 2 nerves touching each other, and then they must be stopped, because they can destroy the body. If the brain shortens, then we have to find a way to separate it from each other. So lecithin is good for seizures and good for that function. Vitamins is good for the brain. Why is that? Because when the brain thinks, it produces energy plus what? Waste. And the waste in the brain, it looks brown like this, like that. We call it beta amyloid, but actually it's a waste. And the only way to get it out is antioxidant vitamins. Vitamin C, number 1, because it works in the blood. Vitamin E, number 2, because it's in the membrane. Vitamin B, because it's inside the cell. And beta-carotene, because it's inside the cell. So we need vitamins for the brain. We need minerals for the brain, like calcium to calm the brain down, potassium to speed it up, salt to make us think clearly. And we talk about salt. Most of my patients, I found, before I see them, they were on a salt-restricted diet. None of my patients on a salt-restricted diet. None of them. Salt is very important for the body. And there is no correlation between high blood pressure and salt unless you have kidney failure. Are you following me or no? And only kidney failure is very rare. How many people have kidney failure? Yeah, it is true. If you are on dialysis, we're going to watch the salt. How many people on dialysis? Right here in this room. You understand? So we're talking about majority of us, we're not in kidney failure. That's correct or no? If you're in kidney failure, you will die within a month. Your heart will stop. None of us have kidney failure. Kidney is excellent. We'll not only have 1, we have 2. So one doesn't work, the other works. So we very well, so watch the salt. Watch the salt means don't get yourself depleted from salt. If you have craving, take it. Don't say, oh, I'm not going to put the salt on the food. Do it. Because the extra will come out in the urine. But if you have deficiency of salt, believe me, you're going to be in trouble. Because especially if you are dehydrated in the summer, you need some salt because you lose lots of salt through sweating. And you can die from salt deficiency. One day you can get so dehydrated that the salt goes low, the brain stops, and the heart stops. And you have a stroke. So this is something we have to learn from the lecture like that salt is not enemy, is our friend. And actually for high blood pressure patients, this has nothing to do with this lecture, we find out they have calcium deficiency. So we gave them 6 calcium a day, and we told them, eat all the salt you want, and the blood pressure went down. And that was about 15 years ago. Now it's been published in the medical literature. It is the calcium responsible for high blood pressure. Low calcium is not the salt. Any doctor who is really up to date with nutrition called now alternative medicine. You know, alternative medicine it's a specialty now, and it has its own papers, magazine, periodicals, and published things. But if the physician doesn't read these papers or doesn't subscribe to it, you know, they call us all the time. They call us by phone all the time. You want subscription in what? We send it to you. You want the latest in what? We send it to you for money. Anything you want, we send it to you. This costs you $300. This costs you $500, $1,000. But it is good education. So I get in the mail every month 10 pages of what's being published in nutrition, and every doctor should get it, and he learned a lot. And this thing I'm talking about is being published. So we need minerals for the brain. We need water for the brain. Lots of water, not tea, not coffee, not herb tea, not beer, not Coke, not Pepsi, water. Not sugar, not juices, water. Are you following me or no? Because if you're going to drink the juice as a source of water, the sugar is going to go up so high that you got to go to the bathroom. So you lose water when you drink so much juice. Or you gain weight and you lose water. If you use beer, you're going to go to the bathroom more than you are drinking. So you lose water. If you drink Coke, which has sugar, which is better than Diet Coke, of course, because of which sugar you can get rid of, but Nutri-Sweet in diet stuff causes cancer of the brain. That is more serious. So if you have to have Coke, please drink regular Coke, but don't touch the diet stuff. I'm sure some of you were here when we talked about the paper on Nutrisamine and Nutri-Sweet that we talked against it about 3 lectures ago. You remember that? And we warned all of you. It's the internet. If you know how to run computers, I know nothing about computers. But people who know computers, they got the information from the computer for me. I didn't get it. People who know, they got it for me. I read it. I didn't know. Even as a chemist, I didn't know. That is so dangerous. You know, I mean, I never liked it, but I didn't know it's so dangerous. Are you following me or no? Because there was so much information came from the internet, was hidden by the company who makes it, Monsanto, from us, doctors. I didn't know that until some good doctor who believe in God more than his money, he brought it on the internet, challenging Monsanto, the second largest company in the world, and he happened to have lots of political connections. Nobody can hurt him. He's a professor of Harvard and this and this and this. So what you're going to do to him, he's already 75 years of age. He made all his money. He's already famous. What are you going to shoot him? You know? They couldn't do anything to him. And he succeeded. And he won in court against them. And that doctor, I don't remember his name right now, but this is the kind of people we want more of in our society. We want people to make our society better for the next generation. And we want the next generation to make it better for the generation after that. Because what is our job if we're going to leave it polluted and leave our generation unhealthy? What have we done? The money we leave behind is going to make them healthier? It doesn't, right or wrong? If you leave $1 billion behind, it's not going to make your son better, your daughter better, if they're not healthy. But if you don't leave anything, and you leave a healthy child behind, he's going to be a leader or a teacher or a professor or a farmer or a mechanic or a president. Then we have better president through nutrition, not through election. Election does not produce better presidents. They both of them bunch of liars, all lies to each other. You know, I never believe politicians anymore. You know, I like somebody who's simple, say it as it is. Like that guy who in Minnesota who won that governor. That kind of a person I like more. Why? I want somebody to tell the truth, to be himself. Are you following me or not? But I'm tired of this smiling cheeks in front of me. It's just like, you know, like a fox in a sheep's skin. Like we are the sheep and they wear this sheep's skin and become one of us. And we discover they're not one of us. Because when I go to the airport to fly, I don't fly with them. They treat it different. They are living better. They treat it better. I have to work. They don't have to work. So they're not human like us. So this water, and they also lack nutrition. Because when I supported Reagan so much. I mean, I was so much involved to change the country when I was younger. I must have this man in power. Then I went to Washington. I supported him, and I attended all kinds of presidential meetings and all of that. And they don't know my background. They only know how much money I paid. So if you pay so much, you go to that meeting, you know, and so on. So I go to this meeting. I really went with good intention to change them to nutrition. And what I found, they offer him beer, they offer him wine, they offer him this, they offer him this, and talking. What's the discussion in the office among the best senators? Sex. Seriously. I couldn't believe that, And then even Storm Thurmond, I was sitting with him, and he's older than King Tut, and then the man, he can even stand, and he's talking to me about sex. I said, and then I tried to analyze the person in front of me because he represents the society. And then I said, oh, thank God there is a president going to be different than those people, which he was different. Reagan was different. In a way, it was a little bit different than them. But turned out to be all the same in the end. So I sort of got depressed about it and refused completely give him 1 cent. After that, I just threw it in the trash. Said no more of that stuff. I even have a hard time to go to vote. I really have a hard time because when I look, I will go on the list and select somebody I don't know. And you know how much that hurts to do that? Because it can be anybody who is bad also, but that's how much trust I have in my heart when I do it. Because when I do that, I don't believe what he said. I do this, I don't believe what he said. Because once somebody lies to me, a continuous lying, it makes me lose trust. If you have a husband or a wife or a friend and they always lie to you, you lose trust, right or wrong? And once you lose trust, it's very difficult to bring it back again. And then I said, yeah, but he lied about this. But he lied about this. But he lied about that. And the media is so good at making the one they like a liar and the one they like looks good. So I don't know which one is good, which one is bad. So that's the problem. So water is important to the brain. And then oxygen also is important to the brain. Okay, we have to hurry up right here and talk about that. Oxygen also, lack of oxygen affects the brain. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. That is one of the problems in the brain is lack of oxygen. So the problem can be protein or vitamins, minerals, or water, or any of these things, because not so many people have deficiency of fat or sugar, as you can tell. And so we have deficiency of protein. We have deficiency, include me too, we have deficiency of vitamins and minerals and water and oxygen because we are neglecting to drink water, neglecting to take enough vitamins, neglecting to take enough minerals, and neglecting to exercise enough. All of us. Show me one person, include myself, is perfection, does everything perfect. We're all human. We tend to procrastinate. For our health is the last thing we think about. Until we get sick. Then we say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? So we have to keep reminding ourselves. Like I give the lecture and I have to apply it to myself. When I do something wrong, I said, you cannot be hypocrite. You have to exercise. You already said it in the lecture. So I hate it, but I do it. So these are the things the brain needs. And what happens if we don't have enough of those? Because the diet is bad, or the circulation is bad, or the hormones that make the brain works better is bad. What happens to the cell? The cell dies. And if the cell dies, we have brain problem, hormonal problem, and from the brain, then we have problems sleeping, waking up, fatigue, and depression, and this, and one problem leads to another problem. So the problem we mentioned here, PMS, is a hormonal problem from the body and the brain. I forgot to mention something important here. I bring this picture back because I said the LH right here is the one tell the egg and the sperm to come out. Remember I said that? I forgot to mention when the egg comes out, or the sperm, they release progesterone hormone. So progesterone hormone is released with the egg. So when the baby, if the egg gets fertilized, the progesterone will grab it and protect it through the pregnancy. The progesterone is a good feeling hormone. What does it do? Make you feel good. That's all it does. And fight estrogen for cancer. If an estrogen thinks about causing cancer of the breast or the uterus or the ovaries, the progesterone will prevent it from doing so. This is why we don't see cancer in younger women. But the younger women who have low progesterone, they will have PMS or mood swings. Then eventually have problem getting pregnant, and eventually they have problem even some of them have cancer in early ages right now. One of them was my own daughter when she was only 21, and she could not get pregnant. And she's very healthy. I mean, I raised on vitamins and everything, but something went wrong maybe in the ovaries. So I had to give her tons of progesterone hormone, and then when I did that, she got pregnant. Not than getting one, got three. So it worked too good, you know. So she had 3 babies rather than one. So the progesterone hormone benefit is a good feeling hormone. It makes you feel good like dopamine, like adrenaline. It's anti-cancer. It's not anti-aging hormone. The one anti-aging hormone is what? It's estrogen. So do not get fanatic about progesterone ignoring estrogen, because you will feel good for a while, but you're going to age fast. We need both. We need the person to get younger. How about males? Testosterone will do the same for him. Does male need progesterone? Males make their own progesterone all the time. And males have as much progesterone as female hormone, but they don't have deficiency. Some of them do, but not very rarely. That's why men do not get PMS, don't have mood swings, because they have enough progesterone, enough testosterone all the time. And sometimes makes them more aggressive, even, to have more of that stuff. Women in the opposite, they use lots of progesterone in daily life. So progesterone will protect the egg until it gets fertilized and protect the baby until the placenta starts making progesterone by itself. Then the placenta takes over until the baby comes out and the progesterone falls down and the period happens again. Now, if the egg doesn't get fertilized, the progesterone will fall down, then the period will happen again and the cycle will continue again. And that is the time she will develop PMS, or premenstrual syndrome. Men develop PMS also called mid-age crisis. They get paranoid and they get harder to deal with, and they get argumentative, and they get crazy about sex, and they get all of these things because the testosterone is going lower, and they compensate by other actions. Are you following me or no? Because a good testosterone level person does not act like that. You look at, for example, like teenagers, boys between the age of 14 to the age of 20. This is the highest testosterone level for a male, 14 to 20. That's the highest, and then it gets lower gradually until the age of 100. But those boys actually have some interest in getting a girlfriend or something like that, or getting married or that, but it is not number one priority in their life. Are you following me? But if you go to a man at the age of 40 or 50, sex becomes number one in his life, and everything number two. So that is because of compensation, because he cannot function properly, then he compensates by acting as he can. So we have to get to the point and say, okay, you need to build your hormones. The menopause and hot flashes, there is no such thing called menopause. There is menopause means life is pausing, life is changing, life doesn't change. So forgive the word menopause. Women like it because they said, I hate the period and then I don't want it anymore. Come on. If you want to feel back like when you had the period when you were 20, you would love to have your period back and feel like you were 20. So the period is not the problem. You just try to say, well, I don't have the period anymore, thank God. No, don't say that, because if we can bring that period back like it was when you're 20, you feel like that, you'd be feeling a lot better. You follow me or no? So what we have done now, I have to compensate by let them have few spots every month, because if I give them heavy period, they hate me for it. So I said, okay, just have few spots, you can deal with that. Yeah, we can live with that. I said, that's fine. So seriously, that's how I deal with it. Because they come attack me. You know, they said, what do you think I am? At 20 years old? One time I had a woman came in and she was terrible. And everything, high blood pressure, everything in her life was just miserable. Then I said, okay, these are the vitamins you're supposed to take. This is you stop alcohol, you stop this, you do this, you do that. And then we have to give you some hormones. Then I give her a hormone shot to bring her hormone up. She has 0, 0, 0, 0 of everything. And one of the hormones women need is the progesterone and testosterone. And both hormones increase libido. Progesterone increases libido, and testosterone does for women too. So she comes in screaming next time. So what did you do to me? You know, in front of everybody in the office. And then, you give me a hormone shot, and I could not take it anymore, and I do this, and she said bad words. I thought, okay, man, just go back to your own doctor and just go and die or vegetate or do what you have to do. I don't want you anymore. Seriously, there are some people who that hard-headed you cannot deal with. You tell them nutrition, that's I'm fine. You tell them exercise, I'm fine. You tell them this, I'm fine. What can you do? You know? They want to go to nursing home. I fight people not to go to nursing home. And they convince me they should be in nursing home. And because the brain is not there. And we have to wake them up. I said, wake up, you're a human. You deserve better than that. You deserve love, you deserve care, you deserve walking, laughing, dancing. You deserve that. And then the person, when they over the hill, they think, so because the doctors tell them that. You are over the hill, you're going to die, write you well, no hope. And that is the last thing you want to tell a patient, even with terminal cancer. You can't tell a patient with terminal cancer or any disease, you're going to die. You follow me or not? Because once you say it, they lose hope. Once you lose hope, your body doesn't make antibodies. You know the antibodies, interferon. There is something called interferon. It fights disease. Once you get depressed, it goes down like this. And then we have proved it. Mayo Clinic have proved that. In their study, they studied monkeys and humans, and monkeys never get stressed. They're always laughing. So they find the interferon so high in monkeys and depressed people so low. So they took blood from the monkeys, transferred to depressed people, they start laughing. This is about 20 years ago. That's when we discovered interferon. And you heard about interferon, right? This is the first time we discovered a substance called interferon. So we start killing 1,000 monkeys and extracting the pituitary gland and give it to people with cancer. And then doctors fought that. I said, wait a minute, you know, we can't do that. Just keep killing animals for one single human. That's not fair. So we start manufacturing now interferon in the laboratory. We don't have to kill animals. But the best way to manufacture interferon is you yourself having your body produce it. And exercise produces interferon. Happiness produces interferon. Laughing produces interferon. Good nutrition produces interferon. Good night's sleep produces interferon. Depression, you know, or somebody give you bad news or always depressing person, you don't want to be around. If you have a friend who will give you always bad news or always make you cry, just avoid them. Because you're going to get depressed, you're going to be like them. So the osteoporosis, we're not going to talk about that that much right now, because I like to show you some pictures. This is some of the stuff I'm going to use and some we're not going to use. Okay, so if we try to make the brain work better, we need better what? Better circulation, better blood, exactly. That's number one problem. I find in my patients, when we do carotids and the side of the brain, is blockage in circulation. The best way to tell about blockage in circulation, if you have problem in the circulation, your hands, your heart, your feet, or anything, you have problem in your brain. You don't need a machine to tell you. You understand? because the arteries are the same all over the body. It's very unlikely you're going to have blockage in the heart without blockage in the brain, because the blood doesn't work that way. Select to the heart, hates the heart, but loves the brain. No. Blockage is all over. If we bypass the heart, what we're going to do with the brain? So bypass surgery is just temporary thing, but it's not a permanent cure. It's a temporary help, but it's not a permanent cure. So we need good circulation. As you can see right here, the circulation is what? Blocked right there. And that is in that case, from lack of hormones. This was Women's Health magazine that shows this article. And the circulation you can see right here, I don't know if you can see it or not because I took that to Kinko to produce good colors here. It looks beautiful in front of me and the screen is not as good looking, but the deposits start as a fatty streaks. You can see that on the screen before it starts blockage. So LDL starts depositing right there, and hormones, estrogen especially, and testosterone prevents LDL, converts LDL to HDL. So that is another benefit of hormones. Next picture right here, I wanted to show you the cell I talked about. Remember that I said the brain cell, it gets, if it has deficiency of circulation, it will have what? The brown spots, the waist, right? Remember that? Now we're going to show you real pictures of the waist, what they look like. This is the age spots in the skin. So age spots can indicate a problem with the brain. So I said it's reversible. Remember that I started the lecture by giving you the hope before I give you bad news. I gave you the hope first. So it says that, but also it says in here there are ways to get rid of them. Are you following me? We'll give you the bad news here and then the good news right here. Now, to make you believe it more, I'm going to give you more pictures. And now, don't wait until it gets worse. There are ways we can reverse it. You got that already? Now we're going to give you pictures from inside the brain itself. Okay, we start with artist picture. It's not real picture. It's an artist drawing. Are you following me or no? Then I'm going to show you the real picture right now. A few minutes I will. So the aging spots, when we operate on people, we see it. We see that on the brain scarring. Even with the MRI scan, we see it. Now we go inside the real brain. This is the age spots, and that is the spot inside the brain right here. That is a cell that completely dead with the brown spot right there. This is a real cell, by the way. Can you see that? But the next picture, I'm going to show you how the body is fighting, because the next picture also real picture to show you that is the real picture right here, to show you that is the brown spots right here, and another one right here, another one right here. But what are all these lines around it? These are the good cells trying to eat it away. You see right there how many of them? There are millions around it. So that is the stuff I want you to realize, that when you have a problem with memory or problem with the brain or problem with strokes, Alzheimer's, don't give up, because the brain can reverse itself. Now we're going to review some of the hormones again, because it is almost 8:30, so I'm going to put this picture right here. I said, this is review now, that the estrogen hormone responsible of what? We're going to talk about that in detail in the next lecture. Keep the person young, male or female. So, young where? In the brain, in the eye, in the the vasomotor means the blood pressure, the heart, prevents cancer, prevent losing urine and loss of urogenital problem, dry vagina, and you're losing urine and all the stuff that women develop in older age. So we put that away so we can see the real picture. So you hear a lot of things bad about estrogen. This is what estrogen does. You follow me or no? So this is the good news. If you have wrong estrogen, like synthetic, that is your problem. Then you can develop cancer from it and you can have problems. And then we say the majority of women today will conduct approximately 1/3 of their lives in the postmenopausal state. Means 30% of the age with no hormones. So that is many years without hormones. That affects the quality of that person. We have to skip some of my notes because you're not going to be able to read it anymore anyway. But I did have, I was planning to have lots of explanations, but I decided not to. Okay, this is the complicated pathophysiology and the uterus and the ovaries and the eggs and premenopausal and menopausal women and all of these things. But basically, it's all revolving around the egg and releasing of the egg. Is the egg has been released or not? And if it has been released, things are better. If there has not been released, the egg can stay inside right here. Right here can stay, and then that things will be bad because there's no progesterone coming out unless the egg comes out. So because women do not have eggs in the older age, then they will have to have hormone replacement therapy. Talking about estrogen, progesterone together, this is just a summary about one does the opposite of the other. And then we will talk about that in detail. But again, do not progesterone is extremely important, estrogen is extremely important, testosterone is extremely important. No hormone is not important hormone. So we will put that there. And synthetic hormone, they have right there 28 side effects. And synthetic hormones are made by taking natural hormone, mix it with chemicals, boil it together, alter the molecular structure so it can be patented and sold for more expensive price. Because when I made my own hormones in my office, I discovered that I can make my hormone about 500 times stronger than the synthetic, natural, with 1/10 of the price. Wow. This was amazing to me. When I made it, I told the pharmacy, after they make my own formula for me, how much is it? They say it costs $10 a month per person. That's all. That's very, very cheap compared to the synthetic hormone that it costs almost sometimes $1 a pill or $2 a pill. If you take both of them, it costs more money. So this is lots of problems synthetic hormone can cause. The natural one does not do that. The natural versus synthetic, and we are here for to talk about nutrition. So we have to be careful not to forget to talk about that. I said right here that in this, actually I'm trying to say that by the age of 40, all hormones, they start going down. So we have to do blood tests to correct all hormones. And no hormone is not important hormone. Even thyroid hormone, we discovered recently, just this month, from publications published, that the blood test is inaccurate. That 90% of women and men need thyroid. That is the latest study have shown. So this is something we have to be careful with, that the blood test is not always accurate regarding to deficiency. Sometimes it shows, because we're doing the wrong testing. In some hormones, it's not accurate testing. Estrogen is good, progesterone is good, thyroid is not good test, adrenal is not good test yet. So we have to depend on the symptoms of the patients also to give them or not to give them hormone. Testosterone, as you can see, from this picture right here that the testosterone level starts going down, the size of the penis will go down, the sexual performance goes down, the prostate gets larger, and that happens, starts happening from the age of 20. So for a male, start losing the sexual function by the age of 20. But is that normal? Does God made us that way? It must be the chemicals and everything in the society. Just think about it for a male. Wearing jeans alone. What have the jeans have done to the testicles? You know, testicles is very hot. It produces tremendous energy. To take that and compress it, where the heat gonna go? Kills the sperms inside. And that's why the testosterone was low. So the baggy pants are back again, and then the more common sense clothes come back again after the area of tight clothes pants. Are you following me or no? Even for girls, having real tight pants causes infections between the rectum and the vagina that makes the urine in the stool, sometimes the sweat goes back and forth and cause problems. So baggy clothes is better than tight clothes for women and men both. And the most important thing we worry about is fertility. We don't care about your looks or whatever. Are you be able to produce a child or not? If you're not, you're not good. So you have to be replaced. Well, if I don't put it bluntly that way, then I'm going to put it this way. This was a picture in a magazine that I liked, so I said I'm going to use another picture for males. It says it is not this check right here that you have, it is your testosterone that makes a difference. So what it means, the looks is not important, it is your blood level what's important about hormone for males. It's not how good you look, how much muscles you build. It's how well your hormones are inside your body. If they are low, believe me, you are in trouble. In your brain, you're in trouble. Not only your performance in trouble, you're in trouble every place else. So, American Journal of Medicine have produced an article to show that antioxidants can reverse aging spots. And this is from Harvard Medical School, right here. I put it so it becomes on the videotape. We're going to skip that. This is how hormones are made. We don't have time to talk about chemistry tonight. So we talk about it in next lecture. And the adrenal gland hormones also, how many hormones it makes. We're going to also skip that. At least it was in the tape. And then we're going to skip even more than that. Now we get to the main thing. Okay, this one here. No, that's not the one I want to. Oh yeah, that one is important. I like this picture because this study right here was published about a month ago, and it shows. I want to tell you, when we put animals under stress, an animal that makes 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C per 100 pounds, under stress it makes 12,000 milligrams of vitamin C per 100 milligrams. That's the animal, they make vitamin C themselves. When we take them and put them under stress, they triple the amount of vitamin C they make. So this means, I'm comparing it to a 100-pound person. How many of us, under stress, 100 pounds, take 12,000 milligrams of vitamin C? So that shows you that vitamin C is very much underused in our diet. Now, is vitamin C important? Then we look at the study of Harvard Medical School again to show something very important. When the cell of the brain gets the fatty deposits in it, it damages the DNA and RNA. Now, that causes aging, arteriosclerosis, cancer, cataract, reperfusion, the problem, inflammation, immune system, and hormone imbalance, and lupus, and all of that. Can be prevented by what? Antioxidant. And the study has shown right here that it says the repair system, the body repair itself, is not perfect, but it is 99% perfect. You follow me? This is from Harvard study. That they're not happy with 99%. They said we wish to write 100%, but we could not. It's 99%. So what do you want better than that? That's 99%. So we show a picture right here of okay, yeah, I have to skip some of these. I want to put this on. This is a real picture of somebody who died of his brain, a hair brain actually, that shows that this person died in an accident, a car accident, but the person was developing Alzheimer's. However, what we have seen, it says here how the brain keeps itself fit. A discovery of a healing chemical offers new hope for treating brain problems. What are these secrets right here? What do we call it? Can you see that in the, if you can see it, believe me then. It's called the hormones. And the hormone estrogen, progesterone, testosterone in the article says this is a dead cell right here and the new one made next to it right here. You follow me? So one dead and one alive. So the picture you saw fighting ended up by having a new cell in their place. So the brown spot was removed and a new one was made in place of it. So that you cannot have better hope than real pictures like that that convince you. In the very end, I have a picture of the Shaklee program that it has the protein by ages and the Vitalia and the B complex and the C and the E and the alfalfa, the garlic, the calcium, the fibers, the formula I, the beta carotene, they have a new name for it, the iron, lecithin, and liquid vitamin, performance, EPA, and all of these things. All these things, not everybody needs it. But if I will use it in my practice for healing. So some people might have that more, and people might need more of this. But it starts from the most important to the least important. Are you following me or not? So we have the most important would be the protein, then the multivitamin, the Vital E, then the C, then the E, then comes the alfalfa. You see right there, we ignore that a lot. Then the garlic, then the calcium, then the fiber, then the formula. I think beta carotene should go up higher because this was old article. I'm gonna in the future one I'm gonna put it under the E because we discover more about it than we knew before. And then you see that the others are important but not as much. You can see even somebody who's the age of 100, close to 100, he might need one of these to 3. But right here, 2,000 milligrams to 6,000 milligrams. So it goes up with age. When do you start supplement? 0 to 1. The moment you're born, you need it, either in the mother milk or as a food supplement. And the synthetic supplement, the drug company sells, is not as good, but the pediatrician tends to warn the women not to take any vitamin except what they recommend. So they tended to scare them, include my own daughter. She refused to give the Shaklee vitamin for 6 months because her doctor told her it's going to hurt the babies, it's not going to hurt the babies. And even when she herself was a baby just born, I gave her vitamin in the bottle. I made it for her, but she would not do it for her own children until 6 months. Now she's doing it all the time because the scary tactic she gets every time she gets a visit, oh, don't take anything except what I tell you. Then I couldn't convince her because she was worried about her babies. And in a way, she was breastfeeding, so I didn't worry much about it. She was taking lots of vitamins by mouth. The last thing I want to say is I'm going to take some questions, but I'm going to leave my telephone number for you. There are 2 telephone numbers. One if you want to make an appointment in the office or have a question regarding to anything that I can answer in the office, the number is 847-356-9009. Now, the other number is my personal home number that I wish not to be used unless it is absolutely necessary, and I will give it to you. If you must have somebody to call you, then it is right here. And since I've been putting that on the lectures, I very rarely got a call unless it is absolutely. Lots of the Shaklee people have told me, you must be crazy to do that. And I very rarely get one call a day from people in my home. So people are considerate anyway. So I put it there because sometimes it makes a difference for somebody who's going to have surgery to talk to somebody, do I need it or not? You follow me or not? And if I can do it by phone, why not? What did I do anyway, by calling somebody? So what you do, what goes around comes around. When you do good for people, it comes back to you. I believe in that. So if I do something good tonight by giving a lecture to you, and you do something good for other people, and that's how the world should be running. One person help another person, not to have so much hate and so many problems like we have in the society. Thank you very much, and you have a good night. Okay, I will take some questions. Hormones. It is you have to convert the wild yam to hormones. But if your ovaries is not functioning, your wild yam is not going to be converted to hormones. You follow me or no? Then we must take the wild yams myself, tell the pharmacy, mix it with enzymes overnight to break it down to progesterone or testosterone and estrogen. Believe me, the same wild yam will produce estrogen and progesterone and testosterone from. And that is because right here I want to show you something that it is because I had a patient tell me when I use progesterone cream in my skin, my husband won't touch my hand. Because he's ignorant about hormones, he thinks it's a female hormone and it's going to be transferred to him. He's going to be feminine. He's going to grow boobs. So it doesn't work that way. Okay. Here are the hormones, how they work. The same hormone made the same way. Cholesterol is the father of hormones, right here. It's made from fatty acids, oil. It converts to cholesterol. From that comes progesterone, cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, every hormone. So regardless if you're a male or female, you're going to make your own proper hormone. You follow me or not? So it is not that easy, just a man who eats wild yams is going to be a female. It's not. A man who eats wild yams is going to make testosterone. A woman who eats yams is going to make estrogen to progesterone. And when we give it, of course, if you give female hormone cream to a male, lots of it estrogen, it's not good for him. If you give lots of male hormone to a female, it's not good for her. We're not going to do that. So the answer to the question of fight of him then is there's nothing wrong taking it. If you have cancer, you not have cancer, whatever, it doesn't. The company warned people if you have cancer, don't take it, and that. But as a chemist, I don't think it has any problem with taking it whatsoever. It is absolutely safe. But does it work or not? I don't know. I'm going to repeat the question. Okay, just 1 second. I'll take the question at the end right there. Yes. Yes. that's the problem. We will give progesterone and tell the person to eat wild yams for 5 years until we have more study to show. Because in the past we say if you're cured for 3 years, we can start estrogen on you. Now they extend it to 5 years. Now they say forever. So the study warning us that it's completely wrong. But if you're dealing with cancer, it's become a big problem. So there is raloxifene, not tamoxifen. It's synthetic estrogen-like, that it works like estrogen, better than tamoxifen. So if you are in tamoxifen, you better go to raloxifene instead of tamoxifen. And that is the replacement of the estrogen without the risk of cancer. Okay, you have a question right here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's about the brain cell. I was under the impression that you're born with so many brain cells and it only goes through a process of repairing. Now,
Yes.
under these circumstances, you have stated that actually it will create new brain cells, but how does this affect your memory?
That's the last lecture. Okay, we talked about memory. The question was if he understands that the brain it gets worse with age, the number of cells. But now I'm reversing that, saying no, it gets better. Why the memory gets worse? Well, the memory gets worse for 2 reasons. One is the circulation to the brain gets worse, the nutrition of the brain gets worse,